up, fuckers? This is the week 3 LOL Power Rankings. It's your boy, the best commissioner in sports. We had a pretty exciting week, I would say. We had a trade. We had some really good NFL games, including the one on Sunday afternoon and Monday night was entertaining. So yeah, let's dive into it. They the only new big change is a new number 1. So let's get to it. Number 8, down 1 is JG. These running backs look great. Aaron Stone-Jones and Chris Carson, even though he might be hurt, they're putting up numbers every fucking week. But everybody else is pretty much hurting you. I think the receivers are doo-doo. Mike Evans can really only catch a pass if it's in the end zone and he moves like 5 feet. We have Jarvis Landry and the very run-heavy Cleveland offense who's getting nothing. Marvin Jones Jr. should have stepped up with Kenny Golladay out. He's also in a run-first offense, not getting a ton of work. Zach Ertz, supposed to be the number 1 in Philly. He's shit this year, I guess. Brandon Cook's not really doing much. And then, Devin Singletary as your flex. He just got fucking blue balled by Josh Allen in the end zone this week. I had him, I know that. And then Matt Ryan, not as well as he started. He should be he could be better, but he's got nothing on the other quarterbacks on this list. So outside of these running backs, the receivers look pretty brutal. It's a big reason why your team's 0-3. Hopefully Evans can get going. Thomas gets healthy. Ertz gets healthy because he's an important player to this team, and Carson doesn't miss too much time. Number 7 on the list, up 1, is Noom. We're gonna start with the quarterback who's dangerous. He's insane. He's averaging 44 fantasy points a game, I believe. Fact checker. In the first 3 games, that I think is the best start in fantasy football history. I read that today for a quarterback or any player, I guess. He's insane. He's the MVP. He's on his way to the Super Bowl. He looks incredible. And he's probably got the best weapons of his career. And then this running back, speaking of weapons, after your trade with Zach, the running back situation looks pretty good right now. James Conner, besides like that week 1 blunder, whatever you want to call it, blunder, he's been great. He's averaging like 20 in his last 2 weeks, getting a ton of work. He's a very solid RB1, Noom. And then Todd Gurley, who we just picked up, he's capable as an RB2. He gets a lot of work. Atlanta scores a bunch. And then Melvin Gordon, he's the guy now that Phil Lindsay's out. And the receivers hurt you again. And here's Odell Beckham not getting a ton. That offense doesn't look good besides the run game. Allen Robinson, who did very well, and he should do very well with Nick Foles, is the exception. But then we got Devontae Parker not doing much in the Miami offense. Dallas Goedert, I don't know what's going on with this Philly fucking offense. It's awful. He's nothing like he was in the beginning of the year. And then I consider your flex Allen Lazard, the Lizard King. He's actually a top 10 receiver. Look it up. So, I mean, why so low? It's just so reliant on the quarterback every week to carry the load. He's doing it, but like Beckham, Parker, these guys really got to step up. And the only thing I'll really knock the running backs for is that you probably drafted them for more PPR value. Like Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon, not really catching a ton of passes. And James Conner, he's just kind of injury prone, and they haven't really just like given him the ball to like let him like do all the work. Not necessarily to his fault, but I think that's why you're struggling a bit in the beginning of the year. This next one was pretty tough, but down 3 spots because we have a lot of guys moving up is Zachariah. And I heard you just call that bullshit, but I'm going to try to explain. I think you know where I'm getting at again with these receivers. But we'll start with Kyler Murray, who is an elite quarterback right now in fantasy, over 30 a game, leading a great offense. Great job. These running backs, it's RBU on this team. You have so many good ones, but they're just not top tier. Like they seem like three really good RB2s if you just looked at purely production. Like Derrick Henry, leading the league in rushing, had a really good week this week, hasn't put up monstrous numbers yet. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Edwards Sinclair, Upton Sinclair, Edwards Eclair, whatever you want to call him, he's not getting going and catching a ton of passes and getting all the touch. Like he's just not there yet. And then Miles Sanders, I'm talking about the Eagles. He's a little inconsistent, I would say, right now. So these guys are great, just not elites right now. You have a very solid wide receiver one, new nickname alert. It's Air Rika, as in like air, throw it down the field. This guy's gonna fucking catch it down the field. Tyreek Hill. He's been really good. Despite only like 5 catches a game, I think he scored a touchdown and all of them, gets a ton of yards. And the other guys are just back-to-back duds. That's kind of why you fell. Is Hollywood Brown, new man in town, dud. Darius Slayton, dud. That team fucking sucks. And then Russell Gage didn't have a strong week without Julio. So there's a lot of options here. If a team is becoming desperate for running back, I mean, I don't think you'll trade off these guys because they're, who cares? Like these position players, these flex guys, score 20 how you want. But these receivers are just lacking, and I feel like a lot of running backs, even no names, are putting up like decent numbers week to week. These guys are just not getting the workload that they deserve. Number 5, up 1, and be considerate of the guys ahead of you. Well, it is you, Drew. Now, Josh, Jacob, Jingleheimer, Schmidt, and Mike Davis are probably the third best, honestly, the third best running back tandem right now in the league. They're putting up really good numbers and getting a lot of work in PPR. And even Darrell Henderson, I think is his name on the Rams, he's solid. He's a flex. He's the guy right now. And these receivers, like Zach's running backs, they're just not cream of the crop right now. Adam Thielen, solid. Juju Smith-Schuster, solid. Tyler Boyd, probably the most solid. Michael Gallup, pretty strong now. And then Noah Fant, probably okay. So just not elite right there, and you're very held back by the quarterback position. Other guys on this list are getting at least 35 out of their quarterbacks a week. You're struggling to get like 20. Deshaun Watson, Gardner Minshew, whatever the case, it's just not working out for you. And you think you have to run with it? You have to ride the ship? These guys they're just being held back by the strong leader, and you're asking a lot out of Jacobs and your receivers. While they're consistent, I don't think they're putting up like the 30 bombs that you need to really steal wins in this league, despite the 2-1 start. And I should mention that the other 3 teams that I named, 0-3. It's sad, and hopefully things turn around soon. And that's why you're ranked at the bottom. Number 4 is me. I dropped myself 2 this week, reasonably, very reasonably. I have a really good RB situation. Dalvin Cook's top 5. Kareem Hunt, he's Mariano Rivera. He's the closer for the Cleveland offense. He gets a ton of work. He's averaging like 16. He's still good. And then I got number 4, number 5 receiver, Stephon Diggs, a revelation with Josh Allen. And then D-Generation Metcalf. That is 3 straight weeks of 4 catches, 90-plus yards, and a touchdown. He almost had 2. He's been sick. Fuck you, Zach, for not keeping him. I didn't say a word. I wanted him all along. Julian Edelman, Mark Andrews didn't have good weeks. Just going to put that out there. I'm being carried by top-tier guys. And Antonio Gibson is my flex one right now because Julio's a little banged up, and then David Johnson is sort of now my flex. And he's got a lot of upside as a flex now that he's not my RB2. So those guys looking pretty good. And then I'm led by a monstrous Patrick Superstar, new nickname. He had a 48 this past week. That's my Ravens. He's the fucking man. He's a man child. He's a superstar. I don't know what else to say. He just makes my team so much more dominant than Drew's, who's probably much more talented around the positional players, the skill players. I mean, this quarterback is just doing really well for me, and I have at least two or three, I would say, when healthy, solid RBs and wide receivers. Yeah. And then number 3, since there isn't a new number 1, this is you, Webby. You're down 2. Kamara Onana. He's really fucking good, Kamara Onana. He's the 4th best player in fantasy. Averaging like 35 a game. He's doing everything for New Orleans because Drew Brees fucking sucks. So he's really good. Calvin Ridley's still the number 1 receiver in fantasy. It just pisses me off. But anyway, good for you. And then you got Bobby Trees. So these 3 guys, and new team name, Bobby Trees and his G's. So these 3 guys are doing so much better than we would have thought, and they're doing tremendous for you. That's why you're 2-1, I believe. And then the rest of the guys are pretty good as well. Kelsey hasn't been exceptional, but he's been good. He's been the best tight end, I think. Robbie Anderson and Terry McLaurin, despite the quarterback situation, are making the most of it. They're really good flexes in compared to this league. And then you have Chris Godwin, who's now healthy, just needs to have one bang. That's my performance in Tampa Bay with Tom Brady. And the things that sort of knocked you here, despite really solid RB1 and pass catchers, is Kenyon Drake, who is your RB2 and has not had one game over 15 fantasy points, and Lamar Jackson, who has had back-to-back duds, is in the Watson tier right now, which is sad. He's just not really producing. He could pick things up against Washington this week, but he's just not really producing. He's nowhere, in terms of production where you thought, and he's just holding you back because if he's averaging in the 20s, like low 20s or even lower than that, I know it's two tough opponents, but it's just you have to be knocked because you're not putting up 40 like the 3 quarterbacks, Patrick and these other 2. So I think that the teams at the bottom of this list need receivers, and they have good running backs. So if you are trying to make a trade, I think that something could be in the works there, because even though Kamara Onana is carrying it, you might have to fix this RB problem. And I don't know if these receivers are going to be, sustain this trajectory. Nevertheless, up 3, the 2 3-0 teams. This was very close, guys, but I'm putting East 2. So Allentown, Josh Allen is a monster. He's right behind Russell Wilson in terms of historic production. And then we have 2 really good running backs in PPR, especially Ezekiel Elliott and Austin Eckler, the Echo, who went off against the Panthers' run defense. Those 3 are so scary to look at. They fucking creamed my team this week. And then you have other really good receivers like Amari Cooper, ton of passing in that offense with no defense on the other side of the ball. Cooper Kupp, same thing, just like Dallas and LA, no defense. They're just going to pass the ball a ton. Those quarterbacks are throwing monstrous amounts of yardage. And then you got DJ Moore, who's making it work. He's very talented. The best one of all, new nickname, is the Hurt Lockett. I found this out this week. Tyler Lockett is incredible with Russell Wilson. They are the best connection in football, probably outside of just Adams and Rodgers. They just get it done every fucking year. I don't know how they do it. Tyler Lockett, even with DK Metcalf, he's whatever. He's the man. And he scored 3 first half touchdowns. He had like a 38 this past week. He's the second best receiver in fantasy. I need to set a reminder on my phone for August of 2021 when I'm doing my research that like I need to draft this guy. Like forget the rankings, like 15, like maybe outside the top, whatever. He's gonna be good. And I don't know how I never draft him and let this like always go over my head. He's just so good. And Joe Mixon and Jared Cook are slow starters. So like we're just ignore that. That is a monstrous lineup right now. They're solid. Time to put some respect on this team. Josh Allen and these receivers that are very steady despite not being like crazy, crazy like role on the team. And then these running backs are PPR monsters. And then number one, Izzy Rad, you're up 3. You've won 6 in a row. Congratulations. The quarterback is throwing a ton of fucking passes. Dak Prescott has the best weapons of his career, and he's just going off. And bringing back another nickname from the LOL All-Stars of last year, it's Chubb Dub, new nickname. Nick Chubb, we're making a rule. He is a mango for life. He just is. He just shows up on Sundays. He gets his 20 carries. He gets his 100-something yards. He gets his 1 or 2 touchdowns. He sits the fourth quarter, and Jared gets a win. At the end of the day, Jared's just going to get a win because of Nick Chubb. If he's on his roster, if he's playing, he's healthy. It is. He's really good right now. He's worse than the RB2 I'm considering is James Robinson, who is just completely tanking the value of running backs. I feel so bad for these guys trying to make a living for generations and get their bread, but they can't because an undrafted running back is 5th in fantasy points for the position, and he's just incredible. I drafted Chris Thompson like every league I had. They're meeting with Devontae Freeman. They have all these other guys in their roster. They have a ton of receivers. They have Gardner Minshew, and this guy is insane. He's like better than Leonard Fournette right now. It's crazy. And then Jonathan Taylor's your flex. He's just going to score every week, and that's his job. These receivers are sick, Jared. You got DeAndre Hopkins, who is number 1 in yardage. You've got Keenan Allen, who is like in that top 5 and really good with Justin Herbert. That connection's great. You've got Kenny Golladay back, who, 17. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm healthy again. He's there. Darren Waller-Greens had a slow week, but, I think he was just banged up. He's a solid tight end. And then you have a ton of flex options. I think the best one right now is Gaskin on the Dolphins. He gets a ton of work. This team is scary, and you just these 2 running backs just fell in your lap. It happens every year. It wasn't via trade this time. And these receivers are scary, and this quarterback just is passing the ball like it's his fucking job. And I don't know why Dak Prescott is like always one of the LOL top like team's quarterback. It's just strange. So we got 8 JG, 7 Noom, 6 Zachariah, 5 Drew, 4 me, 3 Levy, 2 East, and Rad 1. A lot of movement. The top 3 from last week moved down. The 4, 5, 6 moved up. And we have 2 3-0 teams. I think 3 2-1 teams and 3 0-3 teams. I hope there's some more trades because it was really good to see you guys do that. I hope that I hope that you guys stop getting hurt, in terms of your running backs and your most important players, because we saw McCaffrey and Barkley go down. I hope these top quarterbacks bounce back because the other ones are just exploding right now that we didn't foresee. And I don't know. I just hope I don't lose. I hope my opponent doesn't have 200 again. I don't like that. So thanks for watching. I'm sorry it was a little late today. And just tell me that these are trash rankings, and I don't give a shit. So I'll see you next week. We got Jets tomorrow. I hope we're watching it. It's gonna be bad. That's it. The Giant.